I understand that you also were, you've been a sideman for a lot of different people. People seek you out to play with them. And can I name some names and ask you questions? Like, you played for a little while with Big Mama Thornton, I understand.
Yeah, that would be the Bay Area thing with Gary Smith. We backed up everybody back then at that time because we were one of the premier bands that were playing, pretty much Chicago blues, so. Big Mama Thornton, that was 1976 when that happened. The place called the Palms in San Francisco. So it was a 6-night engagement. And every night, at least 1 or 2 people got fired.
Really?
Or a couple of nights, the Horny Horns, there were 3 of them. All at once, they got fired. Then there was a piano player, not Skip Rose. He was in Muscle Lights band. He was there one night. I think he just didn't want to make it the next day. He didn't get fired, but he just left.
But he felt them lowering the boom.
But you know what? She'd look over at me and she'd give me a dirty look like this. Then I just look at her and I'd smile a little bit. And she'd start smiling, and that was it. And I knew it. Well, I made it one more night, and it just kept going on night after night.
So you didn't get fired from the band?
Never did.
You said nearly everybody got fired.
Everybody except for me and Gary Smith. Matter of fact, there was a bass player that was there the last night of this thing. Lou Bottini, who came in the Gas Lamp about 4 months ago. I haven't seen him for a while. He used to work for the railroad down here. And I reminded him, and I go, remember that time? I go, just turn your back to the audience, because she was going crazy, saying a bunch of crazy things to the audience and everything. And I go, Lou, turn this way. And he goes, I can't. And he made it.
I can't do it.
He made it through the night without getting fired. But he played the last night of that game.
What was it like playing with her? Was she exciting? Was it just 6 days in a row, 6 nights?
6 nights in a row. Well, it was all that was a learning experience, but what can I say? I don't think she was up to par from the first time I saw her at the Fillmore in '67, at that point. This is many years later, right? She was amazing then. She was healthy, very vibrant singer, loud,
Yeah.
By this point, a lot of alcohol had been involved in it and stuff like that. Still, in there you heard glimpses of the genius that she still had going.
I understand, I don't know if you're aware of it, but I understand she toured with Johnny Ace, that Johnny Otis had put together a tour package with Johnny Ace.
Yeah. Supposedly she was there when he supposedly was playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, the Johnny Ace story.
That's what it is, right? She was backstage with him. She was the only one that was backstage with him right before that happened.
The Johnny Ace story was a very, very famous singer, if you're not aware, and they had been put together on one of the first package type tours around the nation, and they were in Houston backstage, and Johnny Ace was playing with
He did it quite frequently.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was.
Thank you.
Thing.
And
played Russian roulette with one shell in the gun.
And
flipping it all the time.
She got pissed. She told him she took it away from him, as I understand it, and then he talked her into giving it back, and he did it again, and that was his last time.
She wasn't there though, supposedly. She was there right before that happened, and she went out front, came back, and got the news. Yeah.
The late great Johnny Ace.
He was a great singer.
Is there any other memorable people that you've played with that you can look back and smile on and remember that?
Many of them. Many people.
Well, you were in the original, if I may interject. I asked you a question, forgive me. Tell me about the beginning, the inception of the Mighty Flyers.
Well, I had done a record, the last thing with Gary Smith in 1970, once again, 76, it was an album at that time that they since have reissued called Blue Bay, where they just highlighted a bunch of the artists up in the Bay Area. For instance, Luther Tucker, who we played with hundreds of times.
Right.
Let's see, Ron Thompson, Sonny Rhodes, what's his name? High Tide Harris, Charlie Musselwhite, who I was in his band for a year or two also back then. I don't know, it goes on and on. I can't, there was a Robert Lowry, who's a Robert Johnson sounding guy, really good guy. Anyway, so that was the last hurrah of Gary Smith making that album. And then I get a call from Steve Gomes, who went on to play with Ronnie Earl, and he's a bass player, you know.
Right.
And he says, hey, you know, he used to come down to LA back then to play with T-Bone, you know, and various guys, you know. So he goes, hey, Rod Piazza's looking for a guitar player, and I played him the cut, you know, which is basically a Little Walter song that we put on. There's two of them on that Blue Bay, and Rod listened to it and goes, that's all the guitar I need to hear, because there was no guitar solo, it was just playing rhythm, and that's basically what I got hired for. You know. So Rod came up to us. He was up in the Bay Area doing some stuff in San Francisco at the Coffee Gallery, and I can't remember the name of the other club. So that was my first meeting with him, and he just goes, hey man, you know, I'm thinking about doing this little tour of Eugene, Oregon with George Harmonica Smith, Pee Wee Creighton, Johnny Dyer. And so these guys all picked me up at my mother's house. You know, and I got in that band, and it was just amazing. That was the start of it all.